Welcome back to another episode of ILA on Air, where we're making the complicated simple. We're bringing you short, sharp, property and finance-focused education from the industry experts. I'm Anastasia, the CEO and co-founder of ILA Law, the UK's only law firm specialising exclusively in property finance independent legal advice. And today I'm joined by an incredible person in this industry, a fantastic developer, Victoria Tsoy. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And today, Victoria's going to be talking to us about how we don't get stuck at this kind of middle level development. How do you grow and expand your portfolio, particularly with the current market situations that are happening, costs, anything that's impacting developers growing further? So, Victoria, share with me again, like your experience, like currently, like what you've kind of been working on and what you're building out, so people get a bit of an idea of where you're at, and then how you've grown to such a level. We can go through actually the practical tips that people can take to do so.
Okay, so at the moment I'm working at about 6 projects. So I've got one big refurbishment. It's a bungalow to a super home. So in numbers, it's 585 to 950. I've got land in the back, which I'm hoping to get some planning on in the near future. Then I've got title split property, which we bought a single detached bungalow, which we're going to convert into 2 units. So 400,000 into 1.1 million pounds. And we do some smaller units, so 3-bed semi into 5-bed SA, so 350 to 650. And my favorite project at the moment is my scrapyard. It's the project we bought about 15 months ago. It came with planning permission for 10 units and also a commercial building, which I finally got planning to convert into 3 townhouses, so 13 units on one plot. And this takes like most of the time right now. We also have land in promotion, so we are getting planning for 38 bungalows and a commercial 3-unit. We've got a retailer, and 2 independent shops. So that's 6 acres of land. I've been working on this for maybe 3 years now, and we're at, I think, 3rd pre-app. So it takes a lot of time. And what else do I do? And we have just exchanged contracts on a building in London, which is going to be epic. It's something I haven't done before. It's an office building which was vacant for over 10 years. And we've just exchanged at 2.35, and I'm going to do something epic there.
Whoa. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless, and usually I'm not speechless. That's incredible. Well done.
I try.
And we know, obviously, you didn't start like that way, right? And it sounds like you've got such a variety of projects and different price points. So I think we were touching upon earlier when you and I were speaking before the podcast that in order to grow outside this kind of middle stagnant level that a lot of developers get caught at, which maybe we can talk about what we deem that as, you need to have lots of different maybe techniques or different methods. So yeah, share with us how you've done this and where people tend to get stuck.
I think maybe I start with where I started because I think it's important. So I started with pretty much nothing. In 2012, I rented a big house and I was doing what's now called rent-to-rent, and it's fancy. Mm-hmm. Back then, it wasn't really fancy and people would judge you about that. I had people living in my house. I had students I looked after, and that's how I saved my money to buy my first house. So it's taken me 8 years to save 140,000 pounds. So it was 8 years relentless saving, not going out, no cocktails, no holidays. It was just locked in, and I needed to get it saved. So then I got to 2017 and I bought my first house. And when I finished the project, it was a detached bungalow. I did single-story extension and a loft conversion. So I've transformed this house from 3-bed into 5-bed house with 4 bathrooms. Why? Because I wanted to have cash flow. I still was hosting students, so have to have the income. And when I remortgaged it and pulled out all of my capital, 150,000, and I put those money into my next project, I was like, why everyone is not doing it? Because it's not very it's not simple, but it's also not very complicated. It's very doable, in the scheme of things and how life is difficult. It's kind of doable. So I think it's kind of important to know where you start, but also for me, it was, I get bored very quick. So on my third HMO, I was like, this is getting boring, like what it is that we can do. And I was like, okay, we've done single story extension, I've done double story extension. And with the prices going up, you need to be very smart. So when I started, it was all about loft conversion, because loft conversions were like easy to do, it's fast, it's permitted development, you just go and I was like obsessed with loft conversions. But I think by the time of like 2020, the cost became so big that it didn't make sense. So it totally didn't make sense. So I need to think, like, how can I make money? Because we are in this business to make money. And that's when I bought my first new build development, which was like an old, super old bungalow, wooden bungalow with planning permission to replace it with a multi-unit block for 2 flats. And I built it with my team in 2020 in under 9 months from the ground up. I mean, it was super messy, but the amount of money we made there, it was like crazy. So at that time, we built at about £100 per square foot. And I was like, okay, so it takes me about the same to do new build than to do refurbishment. And it takes same amount of money and same amount of time. At that point, I was like, okay, I nearly died because we had, we didn't have like proper utility connection. Like I didn't know anything. Like I was just a girl, I have pictures on the scaffold with no safety. Like, I was excited, but I didn't know enough. But you live and you learn. And I think opening yourself to different projects and opportunities, I think for me, that was the key. Because with everything moving so fast, you need to learn to adapt. So maybe that.
Yeah, and where are you seeing, because you do a lot of educational work for developers, where are you seeing a lot of developers get stuck? Like, at what kind of level of portfolio? Because you were talking earlier about also like how do we scale up from there? So where are you seeing people stuck at and why are they stuck?
I think they get stuck because it's comfortable. So for example, they've been doing HMOs and it's comfortable and they do it. And I mean, if money makes sense, I know a few developers who are incredible, like Joanne, shout out. She's incredible. She's the queen of HMOs and she's doing like 20 rooms HMOs. And that project would be much more like profitable than what I do. And I love that for her. But for like say an average developer, it's really hard to make it work with legislation and all the planning. It's not worth it. Where do they get stuck? Maybe with the comfort, the cookie cutter thing, like people get comfortable, they know that they can do it. But I feel like with the rising cost, you have to be creative. Like you can't be, unless you're making very good money, like yes, you can stay there, but I don't see that happening. I see a lot of people get stuck because they're comfortable there and they feel like, oh, new build is too, it's too risky, ground up, you'd never know what you're going to find. But for example, on Whitney, we've had contamination. We've had contamination which was like, let's say they told us about, and we found contamination which wasn't open, which we found under the concrete slab. And then we just had to get on with it and deal with it. So in reality, it wasn't that dramatic as some people might think. Yeah.
I guess when you're experiencing lots of problems, which I'm sure many developers do, I imagine maybe if they're doing just one technique, people get used to the same problems they'd experienced. So that becomes not only comfortable, but do you think that makes people think, well, I'll save time and money because I'm used to these problems? And I guess when you're trying new things all the time, you open yourself up to a lot of new stuff that you don't know, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Every day. Something new comes out.
But that's how you push to the next level, right? Yeah. How else are you going to do that? So what type of developments have you got at the moment, like different types? Are you doing HMOs? Are you doing ground up builds? Are you doing, what are the different type of techniques that you're doing? And which ones would maybe you say, people listening to this trying to understand what they should get into, which are the most profitable right now for you?
Well, hopefully the most profitable is going to be my new project in London. It's an office conversion into an apart hotel. Okay. So just to put it in the money perspective, so the profit on that site is going to be the same as building 13 houses, but the amount of hassle we have to deal with to do a ground up, I haven't done it yet, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not going to work out, yeah? But the profit is identical. So both projects, for example, Whitney, we got it at £1,150,000 to buy. Then we've got development loan to build it. With the cost, it's about £3 million. And then our sale values are about £5.5 million. So our profit is about 1.2. And that's about 18 months of construction, pre-commencement conditions, and it's going to be 6 months for sales as well. So it's, say, 2 years minimum, absolute minimum. So this project in London, hopefully, it's an existing building. So we're going to just strip it all and we're going to do internal work to it to convert it. So it's about 25% of what I would do on a new build site. And it's going to make me the same amount of money, hopefully more. So, you know, I'm trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone because I think the industry it's very competitive. Like, you need to be there and you need to push yourself out of comfort zone, because if you wouldn't expose yourself, you would say like, oh, for example, you can tell your agent, oh, I'm only looking for HMOs. Yes, you would keep doing it, but within this market, it's not possible to, you know, like to grow, I think. And it gets, I don't know, I get bored very easily. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my, maybe it's me. But I feel like every time when I do the project, which is more complicated and I haven't done before, yes, it's extremely difficult because we've got, you know, like when I just feel like I'm nearly there, you know, I'm going to be okay. And then something else is happening. I mean, it's extremely hard and it takes over your life, but you also learn. And I feel like because I have pushed myself so hard, and I've put everything, you know, my business means a lot to me for many different reasons. I think that's why maybe I'm going where I'm hoping to go.
Mm. Yeah, and you mentioned with this most recent one that you haven't done this type of project before. So where does someone who's listening to this thinking, right, I am that HMO developer and I'm stuck in that realm. It's all I'm doing. I'm not making the big bucks. And I want to learn something new like Victoria's just shared. How do they learn that though? Where are you learning this? Who did you find out this information from? What are you doing?
I think there is loads of information online, of course, good and bad. I think joining a good network of people you respect is important. I have kind of learned most of it by myself, but say like 3 years ago, I started. It was like my coming out era because I was like, okay, my business is doing okay. I'm hustling, but you know, it's okay. I need to know people in this industry because I need to grow. And that's how we met, because like I need to know more. I want to see what's more out there. So I think, you know, like connecting with the right people in the industry would be great, because when you get to know people, people will pass on business to you. Agent will, you know, they will see what you're doing, and over time they would be like, oh, I see that you've done X, Y, Z. Like, I think you can do that. Like, I get that a lot. And for example, when I used to fight for sites, you know, because when you're not known and you don't have the track record, I used to get the sites nobody wanted, you know, like that was my thing. And I still made it work. I didn't earn millions from it, but I built my reputation and my track record. And I think that's like what people say not stuck, they're comfortable, they're okay, they're not stuck. But they can do so much better because they have track record, they have reputation, they have, you know, their books look great. And they can leverage that. They can leverage that, you know, to go bigger because there is so much out there to do, I think.
Yeah. Amazing. And so these are all the bigger, like, new opportunities that you're hunting down. You think, hey, these are going to make me lots of money. What, in your experience, has been the worst type of development work you got into? Could that be either that it's the individual project, but just generally speaking, maybe the least profitable that you wouldn't recommend people did?
Okay, I've got lots of advice for that because like I've had a lot of projects flop, you know, and I'm open about it as well. So I think one of the projects we got, it was bungalow with planning permission for 2 houses. So on paper, it looked okay in 2022. I had a gut feeling I didn't like that site, but at that moment I was like, you know, I want to go big. I want to do like the bigger project. And I've hired someone and they were older than me. They were in the business for longer. And they were like, I've trusted their, you know, like experience. And I was like, you know, I'm not there. I need to listen to people. And that was like mistake, but I would say a lesson for me now. So I had the gut feeling like the access wasn't great to that site. And I questioned the sale prices, but I still went for it. And over time, when we completed that project, new build, we just couldn't sell. And that was the reality of it. And when you can't exit your site, because you have to refinance, you will lose a lot of money. Yeah. Like we've lost maybe over 250,000 extra because you need to refinance the whole thing. And these two houses, they were at 1.8 million pounds. And they were stunning, they were beautiful, but nobody wanted them. And I was like, you know what it is that I do? And it was also public because I share it. And I was like, I'm going to own it, you know, like I'm going to own it. And I wish more people would be open about it. Yeah. So the advice there would be to be very transparent with yourself about your build cost, about your expenses, and about, you know, when you build your appraisal, it has to be like, based on a worst case scenario. It shouldn't be like, oh, the market is going to get better. Think about it. The market is going to flop. It's going to be the worst year ever. And then when you kind of at the level where you're ready to go to the market, you would feel like more comfortable, I think. Yeah. I think that's what we did with our site, the scrapyard site. And we now sold 6 out of 13. And that's off plan. So we've not finished. Existing building, we haven't touched that. And the 10 units, we are at about 70%.
Amazing.
So this is, yeah. Although I was advised last year by agents to not like push the build.
Yeah.
And now they some agents, like agents we don't work with, they were like, pause it and just build one, sell one, build one, sell one. I'm like, it doesn't work like this. And again, you know, listening to people advice, yes, but also, you know, like, listen to your gut feeling and also have good enough network of professionals around you who are credible, because people who are paid on commission, sometimes they don't care.
Yeah. And in order to do all the work that you're doing and said to continue expanding for any other developers listening to this, their team is very important, right? So who would you say you've got in like your power team? Who are the key people?
Okay.
Or the companies or the types of agencies or whatever it is.
Okay. So my key person is my partner and my builder. Yeah. So I am one of those people who saw the potential from my second property. And I was like, if I want to be a developer, I need the person on the ground and I need to learn everything on the ground. Yeah. I don't want to be this fancy woman who drives her car, you know, comes to site, checks stuff, takes pictures and goes. Like I am going to be that person who's there every day. And I wouldn't be able to do anything what I've done if it wasn't for my partner, Petrus, who is incredible, who is that person who is doing it on the ground. And I give him all the respect like he needs, because I wouldn't say I am doing this, you know, oh, I am the developer, I am the company. Like if you're a developer, you need the builder. And if your builder is mediocre or just not good enough, you will never be successful. No matter how much money you've got, you know, like no matter what it is that you've got, the builder is your most important person. Then, of course, you've got the solicitors, you've got the accountant, architects, quantity surveyors, and they have to be there for you. They have to be your party. And I've now, I used to outsource everything, and now I'm building inside team, like, because I need them in-house.
Yeah.
So I've been like in the last year, I've been building my team because I need people to be invested in my business as it's their business.
Yeah.
And I see such a like massive change.
Do you think, you mentioned with the builder and that being your partner, do some developers almost hire a builder like they're just an ancillary service rather than having them as a partner? Or do all developers have them as a partner?
No, people don't like to do that. And that's the mistake. I've seen that many people, and he doesn't like when I say that, but I say that I kind of pinch him because I saw the potential. I was like, this man is great. Like he's the best. Like he needs to be there. Like and he wasn't treated like that. He was an employee.
Yeah.
You know, he was just a builder.
Yeah.
And I was like, you are not a builder. You are the best. You're like the artist. You've built all of these homes. And like, I would be so happy for us to do it together. And I think when people, you know, treat their employees as employees, there is a limit, like what they're going to put into your business. And that's why I think it's so important to give people an opportunity to do like, to be the best version of themselves. And that's what I do with my team. I've got some people abroad. I've got people in Oxford. but I want to give them all opportunity. And I'm like, I want to see how far can you go? Because I want to go big. I want to do retirement homes. I want to change how elder people live. But I need a lot of money for that. Like I'm not there. I need a lot of money. I need a lot of experience. I'm not there yet. But I'm now like in this place where like I need to build my team. And I think it's so important that these people, they'll have your back. Yeah. I've got my architects working at, 5 a.m., 10 p.m. I'm logging in and I can see that they're working and they're like I need it like to be the best. And that's when the magic happens, I think.
And you're so right in that scenario. Like rather than having them as just kind of agents that you bring in, are you, like you did with your partner, the builder, is it more like incentivizing them through saying you are a part of this, so when I win you win, and is that structure rather than paying someone a salary? I guess particularly with a builder, right? Because as well, if the build costs go up or there's delays, you as a developer's got to hold all that yourself. Whereas if they're in business with you, then you manage that together, right? I imagine.
Yeah, we manage it together, and that's it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Like you win together, you lose together, and a lot of builders now, they don't understand how it's like what's happening, because they used to build at like a tenth of what we have to pay now, and they just don't. It doesn't connect in their brain. Like how can we spend so much money? And they used to make a lot of money, builders, and that's why a lot of people exit in the trade. Because there is no easy money anymore. They used to charge a lot of money for the same job. And now because of the build cost, they have to cut their, price. But I see it as the best people gonna be like on top of their game. I see like some incredible people like working, and it's an opportunity for younger people who maybe from not privileged background to just go in on site and just learn on the job how to be the best. And I want to create, that's what we are trying to do this year as well, to create pathways for people like Petros, like myself, who has no backing, who has no money, who can come in, work as a laborer, earn the minimum salary, and then become number 2 to Petros, number 2 to me. Like I want to have those people and grow them together.
It's amazing. And you are so good at doing that, helping other people.
Trying.
No, you are. And so you spoke about then like having no money and that you need a lot of money to do the projects in the future that you want to do, but also no doubt for the projects you're doing now. So where do you get this money from? How do people listening to this think, well, that's great, but where do I get my money from?
Okay, where do we get the money? So I'm controversial view on that. So I think when you start, you need to own your money. There is a lot of talk online, how to raise money with, like investors and I don't know, pitch your neighbor and Like anyone can raise money, but not everyone can pay it back. So what I see a lot happening is that people raise a lot of money and then they can't deliver the project. And then these people, their pensions or saving just goes. And this is something I've never done. And I'm awful of raising money. And what happened to us is that money came to us. It literally came to us because I was doing my project. I've done my house. Then I've done the second house. Then I've done the third house. Then I opened a limited company. And at that time, I had imposter syndrome. And I wasn't feeling that I'm good enough, because I wanted to be very good. But I didn't know anything. And I was like, I can't go online and say, oh, you should do this, because I don't know myself. I'm I go there and I don't know what extension is. I don't know what lintel is. I go there, I'm trying to learn. But when I felt I was ready to kind of on my fourth property, I was I need to put it out online. And I started, doing my social media. I felt a little bit okay with sharing, not teaching anyone anything because I wasn't good enough, but just sharing my experience. And what happened is that people who was watching me over the years, they were like, you're relentless. You are there every day. So I had one of the investors who I raised 500,000 with 3 years ago. It was just a message on Instagram. It was somebody's relative, and they were like, I see that you are every day on site. You're there, you're relentless, you share good, bad. And it was very organic. My social media was very like me, I talk about struggles a lot because it's extremely hard. Development will take everything from you. It will take your family, your personal life, your balance. There is no balance. We just hustle every day. And people reach out to me and they were like, do you want money? I'm like, do I want money? And that time I was buying a site for investor for them to make money for them, and just earn a little bit from that. And I was like, shall we just buy it for ourselves? And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And then people who knew us as well, like it was just a word of mouth, and people came to us and they were like, we know that you're trustworthy, you're like resilient, you will get shit done no matter what. Do you want some money? I was like, okay. Yeah. So that's kind of, I would suggest being authentic, work extremely hard and build your track record, because nobody can take your track record from you. So, like every time like I talk about my journey, I can say house 1, house 2, house 3, house 4. I started it with my very little money. I know a lot of people who had so much more than me, but they either spent it or, like looked for 25% return or like, have your money and make it go as far as you can and build your track record, because this is something nobody can take away from you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you're so right that you started off using your own funds so that you could prove to people through showing up online, through actually doing the work as well, that actually I'm worthy of investing in. Whereas a lot of people, you're quite right, there's a big hype on like, hey, you can be a developer and not use any of your own money.
Yeah.
Which also is, I'm not saying that, I mean, I don't know well enough about development work, but we're not saying that's not a valid method. But actually, like you said, unfortunately, you will sustain losses, so you might not be able to pay people back, which then impacts your credibility. Whereas if you've done it yourself and you've used your own money, I also wonder whether subconsciously there's something about using your own money that makes you not want to lose it even more, because it's really your own money that you've had to build yourself. And like you said, then your reputation, turning up, showing what you're doing rather than straight off the cuff trying to get stuff from people.
Yeah. You will have a different sort of respect when you own your portfolio. So I use a lot of investors' money, and now most of our projects, we bring sweat equity. So my London project, I invested 0 in it.
Yeah.
So I've got an investor and I've got the bank. They love each other and I put 0 in it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to advertise it like that, because then it gives this mixed message. This is after I've hustled and I've built my portfolio, which is collateral on all of everything I do.
Yeah.
And it's very important that you've got that collateral, because you need to have that, you need to have it behind you. You can't be, I've got nothing, but please give me £1 million, because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And yes, you'll get lucky, somebody will give it to you, but I really, really worry about all the people who give these unsecured loans and they never take it back.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so you mentioned that you show up on your social media, that you show you hustling every day. I know because I see it. And also on there, you share so much education. So the things we've touched on a few topics today, but you are sharing that every day on your social media, education of how you've built the properties, what the costs have been like. You're really transparent about that. So for anybody who wants to connect with you more and find out more, where can they find you online?
Everywhere. They can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Facebook.
What's your Instagram handle?
Victoria Develops. Yeah.
So if you want to find out more from Victoria, make sure you follow her on Instagram, Victoria Develops, or on LinkedIn, Victoria Tsoy. Her name obviously will be on the podcast, but thank you so much for joining us today. You've been amazing. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode of ILA on air very soon.